Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Salam Media. We're about 19 minutes before the top of the hour, and you're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salalo Makwidiri. Right now, we'll be having my favorite segment, which is called the Hajj Diaries SM 2024. In this segment, we'll be speaking to people from across the world, from here in South Africa, who are currently have embarked to the holiest of cities, Mecca, for one of the five pillars of Islam to perform their Hajj. And one of those people who have taken upon themselves, to undertake this very, very, very important pilgrimage is Sister Safeera Kaka. She's a presenter at CII Radio, and she's also a podcast host. And she's joining us to give us insight on just how happy and excited she must have been when she received the news that she'll be embarking on this very, very important journey. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Safeera. Jazakallah so much for joining us, and welcome to Salam Media.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show today. And it is an absolute pleasure to be with you and your audience on the program talking about this remarkable journey of the Hajj.
We haven't even started, with our conversation yet, but already I can sense the excitement in your voice, and just how happy you are to be undertaking, the pilgrimage of Hajj. Just take us, through the story. Where did it start for you? When you ultimately decided that now is the time for you, to take the pilgrimage, and when you received the news, how was it for you?
Believe it or not, it actually started like in 2004 when I just started off my career in radio. One of the biggest broadcasts in Islamic media has always been the Hajj pilgrimage. So on air, I've been covering it like almost for 2 decades, year in, year out, talking about the Hajj, the aspects of the Hajj. For me, it's always been a very exciting broadcast to do because Hajj is something, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it in the entire world. The pilgrimage is something unique and special about it. And giving or translating the rituals of Hajj to an on-air audience has always been challenging because, obviously I had never performed the Hajj, but just connecting with audiences who had been on the journey or who were on the plains of Arafat or in Mina, I kind of had an idea on the emotions that associated with Hajj and how incredible this particular journey is. So with 2 decades of covering it, about 8 years ago, we put our names down and we intended to perform the Hajj. And it's been a long wait. A lot of people will assume that, you just get to bypass the line if you're somebody who's popular, well-known. It doesn't work that way. Everybody's got to put their name on a list. We waited 8 years, alhamdulillah, and this is the year our call was accepted. And I truly believe that you will perform Hajj at a point in your life when Allah Ta'ala calls you, number one, and number two, when you need it the most, when you need it on a personal level, when you need it on an emotional level, when you need it on a spiritual level, that is when your call will be answered. And there'll be challenges when accepting that call, but alhamdulillah, everything does work out in the end. And we received, I think, the call this year. It was about the fourth day of the year. The year just began on such a wonderful note, alhamdulillah. So it's been a long wait, an 8-year wait, but you can actually say it was a wait of almost 2 decades. As year in and year out, I'd been covering the Hajj, and now I finally get to experience it firsthand myself.
No, definitely. And I think, being in the broadcasting space, you always talk to people, who have made the pilgrimage, and you can sense the emotion. And, some of them cry on air, and, it just fills your heart with so much joy. And I'm pretty sure, it touched you to that level. And, coming to preparations, I'm sure after you received that phone call, or that message or email, something in your mind suddenly just has to change, and from that moment on you had to kind of emotionally and psychologically prepare yourself. Can you take us through that? How was that process for you, where you started to have that mind shift change that this is going to be happening, and I can't be the same person going into it, never mind afterwards when I come back home?
I think it's a very incredulous moment when you are accepted. And for me, it was like a range of emotion, but also almost this numbness. Like, I can't believe it's finally happening. I can't believe the time is here. I can't believe we're going to be going for Hajj. and then it's almost overdrive, and an overwhelming amount of information comes your way because everybody sharing their experience. And this is the thing about Hajj. From covering it for so many years, I can tell you that everybody has their own unique perspective and their own
Mm.
unique experience. You can be performing Hajj with somebody and you can have two totally different experiences. So, it was very overwhelming, the information, my listeners wishing me well, the amount of gifts we received. So, firstly, it was that emotion. Then it was a bit of panic, a bit of anxiety. I know. I understand from the Hajj itself being a very physically taxing experience. So it was trying to get into a situation where you want to be fit for Hajj, but at the same time, there's so much to do. And then we obviously had Ramadan, and the time between you are accredited and the time between you actually going for the Hajj, it goes so fast. The time goes so incredibly fast. So I think
Mm.
at that point there wasn't even time to register, there wasn't time to process what the journey was like. I think it really clicked when you go for your Hajj classes and they like tell you the significance of your journey. But I think the actual readiness only occurred fast after we'd been on the plane itself, because it was overwhelming. There was just so much of emotion, there was so much of things that were happening, there was challenges that came about. But the one thing that really kept me, I think, on an emotional perspective, um, almost like maybe it kept me sane, or maybe just even kept me going, was the fact that if you are somebody's guest in somebody's home, you
Mm.
will go all out to take care of your guests. We as South Africans are known for our hospitality. You take care of your guests from the time they leave their home. You make sure that preparations are made for your guest in a way that facilitates ease within their journey. And there can be no better journey than the Hajj, because you are actually a guest of your Creator. You are the guest of Allah Ta'ala. So at every point, He will make things easy for you. He will grant you ease in the journey. He will open up paths for you, and and provide for you from sources you'd never imagined, because you are His guest ultimately, and He will take care of you. So that's the one thing I think, if I had to give any advice to Hujjaj that are going, think about it in that sense, in that term. And don't
Mm.
worry, I think it's very, very, very normal to be completely overwhelmed. There's emotions overdrive that happens. But once you get on the plane, everything just falls into place. And inshallah, the journey will be easier from this moment onwards.
Mm. You're touching on a point that I wanted to touch on a bit. Speaking to a lot of people that have made the pilgrimage, and have performed their Hajj, they always talk about how they sometimes felt like they were too overwhelmed with emotions
Hmm.
that they forgot to be in the presence.
Yes.
How do you plan on mitigating that? Is it something you should fight, or should it be something you should just accept? And if it does dawn upon you, then it is what it is. You're gonna roll with it. It's probably what Allah wanted from you.
It's time to be very real. That people expect you to be just automatically in spiritual mode all the time,
Mm.
but it is very overwhelming. Medina, I'll just give you an example. For example, Medina was calm. You have your spirituality in place. You have those moments of absolute clarity. I'm on the journey of the Hajj. I'm preparing myself. And then we leave Medina, we come into Makkah. Makkah has been overwhelming. I think there are people, like hundreds of thousands of people, probably well into the millions of people currently in Makkah. It
Mm.
seems like every hour there's more and more people pouring into the city. And again, that feeling of being overwhelmed does overwhelm you. It does
Mm.
actually reach you. And there's also the anxiety, because the days of Hajj are drawing closer and closer, and you're on a journey of a lifetime, which, to be frank, is quite an expensive journey itself. So you
Mm.
have to do justice to it. You have to make sure that you are doing it properly. So there is a lot of preparation that takes place, but there's a lot of emotions, and it is totally normal, I think, speaking to the other Hujjaj as well, to feel overwhelmed in this moment and feel like, there's so much happening at the same time. And I just know for a fact that in a week's time, inshallah, this evening, they're going to be spotting the moon. So
Mm.
hopefully in a week's time, the Hajj will start. And at that point onwards, everything will fall into place. Even if
Mm.
there's a challenge that comes up, everything will be okay. Everything will fall into place. but I think it's just the preparation, almost like the night before you give birth or the night before you run a marathon. All the emotions are running through your mind, and you're thinking, "Oh gosh, I hope that I do this properly." But everything will eventually fall into place next week,
Mm,
Friday, inshallah.
The whole journey itself is a really blessed one, and it's a really auspicious occasion. But I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure there's something personally that you're most looking forward to. What would that be?
I think definitely Arafat. The
Mm,
wukuf on Arafat is something that I have, I've heard people talk about it. I've crossed live to people who are on the plains of Arafat, and I think that is the pinnacle of your journey. That's the pinnacle of Hajj, and that is just the opportunity to reset your entire life. So, if there's one thing that I'm really looking forward to, it's after the khutbah, after the salah, when the wukuf sets in, and that last few minutes where you're just like trying to cram in every single dua you can think of. That's definitely for me going to be the highlight, and it's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most, inshallah.
I mean, I think this is where we're going to leave it, Sister Safira. All the best from us here at Salam Media. Remember us in your duas. Um, and
Ameen.
uh, and inshallah we'll be chatting to you during our Hajj broadcast, and yeah, really really excited for you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask your listeners to please remember myself and all of the Hujjaj in your du'as. May Allah Ta'ala make this journey easy for us, grant us the opportunity to make the most of it. And I will be sharing little snippets of my journey on my Instagram page at Safeera Kaka on air. You guys can click the follow button. And don't worry, listeners, when I come back, I'm going to have a full episode on my podcast, The Chai Lounge, talking about my Hajj experiences.
Definitely looking forward to that. Jazakallah so much again.
You're most welcome.
There you have it there. There was Sister Safeera Kaka presented CII Radio, giving us insight on her Hajj. You can tell from her voice just how excited she is and just how much she's looking forward to this very, very auspicious journey. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be having our last interview and we'll be speaking politics again, but this time a focus on Turkey and their surprising move to align themselves with BRICS and to join this economic bloc. And ultimately, what will this mean for them and also their relationship with the proverbial West? We'll be speaking to the UGA Institute for Pan African Thought and Conversation, Dr. Chido Nyere, right after this.